Welcome to Da'ai Headlines. I'm Anthony Carlisle. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, we have more moving scenes as winter aid is delivered into the hands of people who need it most in China. In our On This Day feature, we find out what year Hong Kong volunteers first started working in the area known as the City of Misery. And from late night to lentils, the story of the bar owner who now runs a vegetarian restaurant. Just before the Lunar New Year, city volunteers in China held a winter distribution in Hojie town located in Dongguan of Guangdong province. Many local young volunteers came out to help and even carried bags of rice home for the more frail recipients. For those who were unable to make it to the site, the volunteers delivered the packages to their doorsteps.
No matter how cold it gets in China's Guangdong province, the blue and white clad devotees can always be seen delivering their warmth as well as daily necessities to those in need. Today, a winter distribution is taking place in Hojie town. A group of young local volunteers have come to help the aid recipients carry their bags of rice home.
With just a bit of sweat, we get to see this crowd of smiling seniors and people. To us, this is the greatest reward.
Despite being a prosperous town, Hojie is still populated with many impoverished households. City volunteers bring aid to the doorsteps of those who cannot go to the distribution site. Mrs. Chan breaks into tears upon the arrival of city volunteers. The distraught woman's husband is ill and her son has left home.
Your son has left now, but don't think it's because he doesn't want you. Think of it as if he is achieving more elsewhere. You should give him blessings in your heart.
Finding solace under Tzu Ji's wing, these needy families should have a warmer winter filled with love and care.
More than 100 volunteers from eastern China and Kunming went to Dexin Elementary School in the suburbs of Kunming to hold a winter distribution. Lessons in Jing Si aphorisms were also taught to the whole school. Though the weather was cold and rainy, everyone brightened up when the blue and white clad volunteers arrived. The chilliness of Kunming's weather is felt by its residents, yet one school is being warmed up with songs and laughter. Dexin Elementary School students are learning their duties towards parents and the environment through plays and sign language song adaptations. The young pupils are all inspired to goodness. For more than 6 months now, local volunteers have been making weekly visits to this school, each time reaching out to small groups of students with Jing Si aphorisms. Today, with the help of Eastern China volunteers, Jing Si lessons are being given to all 7 grades.
We didn't really know how to carry them out. We were still experimenting. We started with just the seniors, grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. We wanted to motivate them first. I'm very grateful to the volunteers that came here from Shanghai this time.
In addition to the children's learning, we're looking forward to seeing more than 100 volunteer brothers and sisters here, also taking to heart the 16 sayings presented in the 6 stations.
550 vegetarian lunch meals have also been prepared for the students to experience a healthy meatless diet, along with a lesson on proper dining etiquette. A winter distribution is also taking place for 194 impoverished children who receive warm winter wear.
With the clothes brought by the Tzu Ji daddies and mommies, we won't be cold anymore wearing them.
All children need Tzu Ji's help and spirit. Learning Jing Si aphorisms should lay a good foundation for their growth.
Through the wise sayings, the seeds of goodness will sprout tall in this school of love. The nationwide winter distribution in China also came to Luosha Township of Luodian County in Guizhou province. 2 Buddhist nuns and nearly 90 volunteers helped organize the event, which included a free clinic.
At a local middle school in Luosha Township in Luodian County, many people hiked for 3 hours to collect their aid supplies from Tzu Ji's winter distribution. It is also a chance for villagers to see their old friends from Taiwan.
Master Zeng Yan especially asked us, to convey her love and concern to all of you here, hoping that this warmth we bring will help make this cold winter much more bearable for the Lunar New Year.
The cookies that the Jing Si abode nuns are handing out, as well as the scarves and the soothing skin balm, are all a gesture of genuine love and care from Taiwan. Rice, cotton clothing and jackets are winter necessities for Luosha residents. Close to 10,000 people, or 2,300 households, will receive these items.
There are a lot of aid supplies this year, which amounts to around 10 million renminbi. Our more than 10,000 poor residents here are extremely grateful for the love and support shown by the Ji Foundation.
A free clinic is also available at the Aid Relief. Dr. Chen Wende, who has been serving in outreach programs for 11 years, is as attentive to his patients as ever.
Just like Master Zeng Yan says, serving with Ji is about helping others without asking for return.
Serving happily for a worthwhile cause, team members and Ji volunteers will continue to safeguard the well-being of the people deep in the heart of Guizhou.
On this day, the 12th of January. In Taiwan, the long hair ban imposed on 1st to 12th grade students was modified on this day in 1987 to be left to the decision of each school, bringing attention to students' civil rights. The ban was not fully lifted until 2005. In Taiwan, the Welfare Act for Handicapped People, ratified in 1980, was amended on this day in 1990, guaranteeing the right to work, education, public examinations and civil rights, thanks to renowned author Liu Xia and other organizations for the disabled. It was on this day in 2003 that Hong Kong Ji volunteers first arrived in the remote Ma On Shan in the New Territories to care for solitary seniors. Since then, Ji has actively helped isolated communities, including the city of Misery in Tin Shui Wai. NASA's Mars exploration rover Spirit sent back 225 images taken on the red planet, which scientists then stitched into a color panorama, allowing further study of the fourth planet from the Sun. It was on this day, in 2003, that Hong Kong Ji volunteers travelled to the remote Ma On Shan to care for solitary seniors, opening the door to outreach programs for isolated communities in the New Territories, including the city of Misery, Tin Shui Wai. Far away from Hong Kong's bustling urban centre, the city is troubled by high unemployment. Many of the residents are immigrants from China, mostly women, who come to Hong Kong in search of a better life, but quickly realise the dreams can be very far from reality.
Life in Tin Shui Wan is difficult and monotonous. If you have a problem, there's nobody to talk to and nobody cares.
Tin Shui Wai looks refreshing and pleasing. It's grand and new with fresh air, and when you shut your door, you don't see any problems.
Tin Shui Wai, a new town in Hong Kong's New Territories, isolated from the glamour and vanity of the city. It hides in plain sight many tragedies of new immigrant women from China.
When we went to Tin Shui Wai to hold a health clinic, we were troubled by the town's high suicide rate and staggering cases of domestic violence, such as wife beating and child abuse. The whole Hong Kong wondered what happened here, so Ji began to investigate and offer support to the needy.
People said to me, once you're in Hong Kong, life will be wonderful.
Full of dreams, Wu Bichong came to Hong Kong from China's Fujian province. However, she ended up with 2 broken marriages. Her dream of building a family shattered as she faced the life of a single parent alone. Broken-hearted, she fell into despair and was hospitalized. and her daughter placed in an orphanage until social workers intervened and lent a helping hand.
I was heartbroken then. It was like I was surrounded by dark clouds. I really felt that people of Tingshui were so heartless.
We told her, if you don't start taking good care of yourself, then the judge won't award you the custody of your daughter, which will make your life even more miserable.
25 kilometers to the northwest of Hong Kong Island, Tianshui Wei is full of lease-only public housing estates. Roughly 290,000 people live here. Even with a picturesque and tranquil environment, the town earned the nickname the City of Misery.
After the return in 1997, the government called for family reunion, and every day 150 mothers brought their children to Hong Kong from China, only to discover where their husbands lived was not suitable for a family. Thus they applied for public housing and were pretty much all assigned to Tingshui Wei. That's how it began. Most of local people looked down on these so-called new immigrants with prejudice. They thought these women married themselves into Hong Kong in search of wealth and a better life. Because most of the new immigrants do not work and rely on government welfare, that people think negatively of them.
Government welfare is given to help low-income families, such as Wu Bichong's, who has no source of income. The subsidy is what sustains her and her daughter.
If the same things were to happen again, I don't think I'll be contemplating suicide again. A person must live with determination. After all, there are people we can rely on, such as Tzu Chi or the Women's Club. The most help that Tzu Chi has given me is the courage to live on.
We, the Tzu Chi volunteers, aim to provide support and care to help these new immigrant women feel that they have a family that sincerely cares for them in Hong Kong.
Since 2008, Tzu Chi began to care for the newcomers of Tianshui Wei and empathize with their needs. In 2011, a Tzu Chi service station will be established here to further strengthen the ties between families, communities, and people.
In Xiamen, on the east coast of China, a team of 16 Tzu Chi volunteers visited 4 local nursing homes to bring the residents rice and nail trimming and hair cutting services, just in time for Chinese New Year. One Tzu Chi scholarship recipient, Lu Xiuqin, also joined the volunteers and learned a lot about herself in the process.
Stepping forward to receive volunteers with a warm hug, these seniors in Xiamen are thrilled to see their friends. Tzu Chi student aid recipient Lu Xiuqin cannot hold back her tears as she gives a foot spa to the old women. Taking the girl's hand, the senior and volunteers give her comforting words.
When you go home, not only must you give your grandma a foot bath, you must also talk to her. You don't really do that? Sweetie, you must try then. Like the master says, there are 2 things that you must seize every opportunity to do, being good to your parents and helpful to others.
The 16 Xiamen volunteers are visiting 4 nursing homes all in one day with bags of rice for the seniors.
The brothers and sisters come a few dozen times a year. They care about us.
Taking out a memento given to him by Tzu Chi volunteers, Mr. Shao thinks of these caregivers every day. These heartwarming gatherings leave the elderly residents of Xiamen with many sweet memories and a familial love that stays with them long after they bid farewell.
Here's a service that we could all use: income tax filing. In the United States in particular, filing your taxes is an arduous process. Many people simply get their accountants to do the job. However, that's not an option for the poor, which is why Tzu Chi volunteers in Cerritos, California, decided to provide a tax return service for vulnerable families. But before they set out on their mission, the volunteers gathered together for a quick brush-up course on the dreaded forms.
Despite the rain and wet weather, people have gathered at Cerritos Tzu Chi office to study the complicated tax filing system together. This is not for themselves, but low-income families in their community.
Some low-income families, they don't know where to go for help, or that they know, but they would have to pay a heavy price. By caring for them, they can even get some benefits from the government.
Many are here to reciprocate the help they received in the past.
In 2007, when I first arrived in Temecula, near Los Angeles, I faced the same problem. I didn't know how to file my tax. I feel that I should reciprocate to the society.
I feel that I'd be able to help people, especially those who are in need and that they can't afford to file their own taxes.
This is the first time Cerritos Tzu Chi volunteers are providing the community with tax filing support, and no matter how difficult it may be, volunteers are eager to serve.
41-year-old Chen Zhenyi, who lives in Taichung, Taiwan, is a single mother of 3. She used to work in a bar for 12 years, but as well as damaging her health, she also became depressed. Then 4 years ago, she was introduced to Tzu Chi and decided to quit her job and become the owner of a vegetarian restaurant instead.
Here in a vegetarian restaurant in Taichung City, Taiwan, the store owner Chen Zhenyi is busily preparing for the day ahead. It's hard to imagine that the woman once worked in a bar for over 12 years.
I lived my life aimlessly and I was always drunk. I didn't know where my future was and feel really bitter.
Feeling helpless and hopeless, long-term stress has put her health at risk, and Chen Zhenyi even suffered depression. Then 4 years ago, Chen came across the turning point in her life.
I was feeling down and my customer told me about mind therapy. Tzu Chi was mentioned and I got curious.
Chen Zhenyi's curiosity led her to Tzu Chi, and a real-life bone marrow saving story in Tzu Chi's monthly magazine deeply moved her. The woman vowed to go on a vegetarian diet and quit her job at the bar.
Tzu Chi sisters and medical team don't give up easily. They are determined to save a person's life, and because of that, it slowly inspired my compassion to go on a meatless diet.
She was determined, and I'm happy for her that she's able to walk Tzu Chi's bodhisattva path.
Though the vegetarian store income is not as much as the bar, Chen Zhenyi is now earning good merit and a healthier and fulfilling life, which is priceless.
We stay in Taiwan for our next story, but go to Kaohsiung to meet recycling volunteer Zhang Guimei, who suffered from depression a year ago after her husband died. She said she lived like a zombie until a neighbor introduced her to volunteering and helped bring her back to the land of the living.
Recycling volunteers Zhang Guimei and Han Meilan work like a dream team. Zhang Guimei says had it not been for recycling, her depression would have been much worse.
Depression made me shake my head and my hands, but I'm much better now.
I want to help her get better. She used to shake badly. I hope that won't happen to her now that she's keeping herself busy with recycling.
Zhang Guimei and Han Meilan are neighbors. After seeing how much Zhang was suffering after her husband passed away, Han decided to get Zhang to volunteer to find joy and contentment through giving.
After her husband passed away, I helped her donate his wheelchair to the Daling Tzu Chi Hospital.
From neighbors to becoming good friends, Zhang and Han are now also recycling buddies who will be there for each other through all kinds of challenges in life.
Malaysian Tzu Chi volunteer Xu Ximan came to Taiwan at the end of last year to be certified as a Tzu Chi commissioner. Considering the struggles she has been through, the senior volunteer is well prepared for the job. Mystery illness, kidney failure and family deaths were just some of her problems. But now she only sees blue skies and sunshine on the horizon. Just back in Malaysia after receiving her commissioner ID in Taiwan, Xu Ximan cleans and scrubs the property for the first Tzu Chi kindergarten in the Nibon Tebal area of Penang, as if she were the one moving into the new home.
I'm cleaning up the place like this because class is going to start on January 3rd, so we have to tidy it first.
Sister Ximan's father died when she was 3 years old. When she was 14, her mother passed away. Her dream of a happy home seemed to come true when she married at 18. But little did she realize that the spectre of illness would come knocking at the door.
In 1997, I don't know why, I was walking and at first my legs felt numb and then it was like they had a fever. They were very hot. Then I stumbled when I tried to walk and very slowly I became paralyzed.
For 5 years, Xu Ximan looked for a doctor and a cure that could help her walk again. And with the support of her family, she finally won her battle with the mystery illness. But not long after, she was diagnosed with kidney disease. Thankfully, Tzu Chi helped cover some of the cost of her treatment, but then, a year later, her husband died of a heart attack. The double blow was almost too much for Sister Ximan to take.
When Sister Ximan's husband died, we'll never forget that shadow of helplessness and hopelessness, the lost look in her eyes and her drowned face. We felt terrible to see her like that. It was heartbreaking.
The heartbreak motivated Tzu Chi volunteers to stay by the grieving widow's side. By chance, classes were starting at the Tzu Chi Academy in Nibon Tebal, so the volunteers urged Xu Ximan to sign up with her children. The dose of humanitarian education was not only good for the youngsters, the mother started to look differently at her situation.
In Tzu Chi, we see suffering, knowing how lucky we are, and creates blessings. At least we have 3 hot meals a day. When I saw other countries or other areas where they scavenge through garbage, we were much better off and luckier. When I was commissioned, I personally spoke to Master Zheng Yan. I said to her face, "Master, let me be born again." I think the name she gave me, Ci Cai, means the days ahead will be bright.
Her disciple name of Ci Cai means colorful or splendid in Chinese, which Xu Ximan takes as a prophecy that in her Tzu Chi family she'll be able to bring light and life to the dark and dingy corners of the world. Tuesday was the 8th day of the 12th lunar month, which is traditionally when the Buddha came to enlightenment. To mark the occasion, which is also known as Laba Festival, people in the Chinese world eat rice porridge. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching Dai Headlines. Goodbye.